Hey everybody, this is Michael King, and I am joined here with my good friend Dan Gamito, and we are excited to have an opportunity to chat with you today about a case study that we've just both been working on for a mutual client of ours. And we're going to be talking to you about a really exciting, how would you describe it, Dan? Like a artificially intelligent sort of tool for texting, or how do we describe Thomas? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so he is the fulfillment of the promise of chatbots. In other words, there's been a lot of promises about what chatbots can do for your business, and he actually fulfills on those promises. So he's an artificial intelligence that can book LASIK appointments and elective surgery appointments for you.
So to provide you a little bit of context, having worked inside the elective medical space for, gosh, well over 12 years, you name it, we've tried it. Whether it's with our agency clients or using it when I was working at King LASIK, everything from trying Podium, we've tried Drift, we've tried all the different types of chat, whether it's via texting or live chat. And there's always inherently been a little bit of challenges with them. For example, if you're doing live chat, well, you have to have somebody on the other end of that chat answering that. And that we understand sometimes you can have a busy clinic day, a person's going to get on. If you don't answer it right away, well, unfortunately, the person could sit there and go idle, if you will, and just leave. Conversely, if you're doing it via texting, what happens is that you still are requiring that somebody from your staff to monitor that and to go back and forth. And sometimes the patient leaves a little bit unsatisfied where they maybe aren't able to get the result to the answer to the question that they want. And they haven't really moved that much further down their buying cycle and doing what we all want, which is to come in, to schedule either a virtual consultation or an in-office consultation. And to kind of bring Dan back into the conversation and provide you with a little bit of context, Dan and I met several years back. Dan was working at ManyChat, which he'll be able to tell you a bit more about, but that's very much integrated into Facebook Messenger. So everything to do in the chatbot world, right there at the very front of it, I was able to be exposed to it. And Dan's somebody who I have tremendous respect for. And what Dan and his team and our team have done is really analyzed what are the most common questions that somebody has, a potential patient has about laser vision correction, and how can we then, how would a surgeon answer that, or what is the best possible way for us to answer that question, and how can we enable a patient in native language just to type in a question and then have our chat smart enough to be able to answer that question and to still feel like it's a natural conversation that they're having. So, Dan, I want to stop talking for a second and bring you back in, but
Certainly,
maybe
no,
you
it's
could
all
provide a
great.
bit of context on Thomas and what we built, and we'll talk about results in a moment.
Certainly. So it's always good to start at the beginning, I find. So I was the VP of growth at ManyChat, and that was my experience delving into the world of bots and these automated conversations. And what we did there was really fascinating because Messenger is this platform that literally billions of people use to communicate with each other. And Facebook opened the platform up for businesses to be able to talk to their customers. So we built an automation platform that enabled you to build kind of like these customer journeys inside of Messenger, these little conversations. Now, what I learned from that entire experience was that there was one fundamental issue with, there was one key thing that was missing from that, which was natural language. In other words, people type in natural questions to your clinic or to your practice,
Totally.
and oftentimes the system that we built, no matter how sophisticated it was, couldn't account for those natural queries that people write. People write things in their own way. They describe what they need in their own way. So Thomas is the natural continuation of this process of learning your customer needs, learning, like you said, those few conversations that you have over and over and over again with your customers, and then being able to drive action that actually improves the bottom line of the business. So we took a completely holistic approach where we know how to handle the natural language that's coming into your chat. And it's almost like you have a chat representative standing by 24/7, listening to your customers, and then not only knowing how to answer them, but also pushing them towards the next step in the conversation, which is to book a virtual consultation. So it is not only just a bot that can handle some fancy language, it actually knows how to sell, and it knows how to get people down the funnel, as marketers say. So that's the real magic of this product, is that it not only understands, but it can actually take action.
Absolutely. And so what I wanted to do, we've been working on this for a little while, and I'm a big believer that you've got to have data, you've got to have a case study, you've got to have something that's just not a shiny object, but it's actually been able to get real world results. And if some of you maybe a few months ago saw an invitation from us to join our little beta, we kind of test it out, but now what we've done is we've been able to bring it into the real world, and I'm going to share with you. So Dan, I'm going to pull up my screen here and kind of
That sounds great.
show our little case study.
Oh, great. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, perfect. So what I want to do is kind of carry through actual results from a client of ours, and kind of just talk to you about how did it go. And so we had it live on one of our clients' websites for 37 days. And on average, we're doing roughly 5 to 6 conversations per day. We had 231 actual conversations. Now, here's the key thing. We did not have to have a staff member or anybody on the client side managing this at all. It was it was beautiful being on autopilot. And what's right, interesting is, the client, we use a customer relationship management software called Infusionsoft. It's called Keep now. But essentially, we got 43 leads or people that raised their hand and gave us their contact information. But what's really interesting is we were able to schedule 26 virtual consultations. And to me, that's absolutely phenomenal, simply because the client didn't have to do anything for that. This is leveraging the traffic that is already going to their site and using Thomas to engage in that natural language with that patient, where they can literally type in any question. Does this procedure hurt? Or, how soon can I go back to work? And Thomas was wise enough to be able to recognize different variants of that natural language, and then be able to come back with a very intelligent answer. Dan, did you want to add any points before I move to the next slide?
Yeah, I think emphasizing that total conversations, that's 231 conversations that you didn't have to have a staff member sitting there waiting for conversations to come in. And all of these questions that came in were handled in a way that's it's repeatable. In other words, the clinic, you can choose how you want Thomas to answer each of these questions. So
yes,
that this machine, this thing that we built, is going to be very consistent with how it's doing its customer relationship management. And the fact that he was able to book 26 actual appointments. This isn't just a cool neat little gadget. This is actually booking appointments for you. And then that's just absolutely amazing to me.
And I think that just the other quick point I'll mention is that if you haven't started offering virtual consultations, you absolutely need to be offering.
Oh, definitely.
It's the right first step, especially in the world that we're living in right now. People want to have that flexibility and ability to be able to learn about whatever your procedures are in the comfort and convenience of their home, not having to worry about driving, getting care for their kids, or whatever it may be. Like there's a lot of positives about doing the virtual consult. And to me, being able to if you're looking at, once you actually have somebody that schedules a virtual consultation and attends it, this client was getting roughly a 60% conversion rate from that to surgery. And so what that essentially means is that, and we'll carry through the numbers on the back end here in a few minutes, but a substantial amount of actual surgery they're going to be able to schedule from these virtual consults. I know that you wanted to, Dan, speak just briefly about some of the sort of unique sort of features that Thomas has. So maybe you want to talk here just about natural language and whatever's on the screen.
Yeah, sure. So again, the thing that was missing, and the thing that is missing with a lot of these chatbots, is conversational continuity. People will answer a different question than the one you asked, and oftentimes you're looking for a yes or no answer, and somebody gives you another question, and the whole thing breaks. So or they give you a certain data format that may not be recognizable to most systems. Look, Monday the 28th at 2 p.m. You and I recognize that as a date, but actually a lot of machines have a really hard time understanding that that's a date, and let alone that it's contextual and that that's 2020 and that has a timestamp. So our system is really sophisticated in that it can read a vast majority of these random types of ways that people type in their dates or their names or their email addresses. Another thing is that I'm an engineer, but I'm actually also a marketer. I'm a weird hybrid, kind of weird person. And I think that I'm always thinking about, what data are we able to get from the conversation, and what do we need to do to move the person forward to the next step in the conversation? And it's fundamentally like a sales driven mindset. So even if we can't book a virtual consultation inside the conversation, we're still going to try to get as much information from them so that we can follow up with them later. So what we've done is we've built Thomas to be really good at, if he sees that you're not booking a consultation, he's going to try to get your first and your last name and your email address at the very least, so that we can keep following up with you in case you're not quite ready to book that virtual consultation today. Does that make sense?
Absolutely does. And it's
and then
really,
and then of course, we the real problem that I think I witnessed after personally deploying literally thousands of chatbots during my 2 years at ManyChat, was that I think the biggest obstacle to understanding how to deploy a chatbot for your business is just what information do I need to, what does the flow need to look like? And I developed kind of a method for this, and I taught it with our mutual friend, Molly Pittman, in a course, and 125,000 small businesses went through this course, and this works really well. All we need to do is we need to get just a few bits of information from somebody in a really predictable way. It's kind of like, what is the minimum viable amount of information that you need from somebody who's chatting with you to know generally what their deal is and how you can help them? And so we distill all that down to maybe 5 questions, and that's the entire backbone of the bot. So we call that process lead qualification, where we're basically saying, if we know these 5 data points about you, we know that you're a good candidate, or maybe you're not a good candidate, or you could be a good candidate. We need more information. So the lead qualification process is really the backbone of the entire bot, and it all starts with natural language understanding. And also, I mean, when you're talking about live chat, you'll see, and Michael, you've manned live chat for your clients before, and I know that you see a lot of it's the same questions over and over again. And it's sometimes the difference between somebody buying something from you and just bouncing and never talking to you again is one question. What is your payment plan option? Will this work with my insurance? So we're that last step. We're rescuing these conversations and then bringing people into the next step. So those are all the things that Thomas is built to do.
What's interesting is that I'm reading the question, and Thomas is smart enough to know that even though
and the funny thing about it's funny he's pointing that out. The funny thing about this is that it doesn't have to be an exact match on the natural language. Like, people will write things and spell things incorrectly, and we'll still be able to pick up a vast majority of that stuff. So in other words, it's not keyword driven. We are actually using the latest machine learning technology to have a fuzzy estimate of what people are actually trying to talk to us about.
Yeah, that's the interesting, is being able just to see the intent of it. And so,
these are some exciting numbers.
So take it away. What I want to do now is to talk through some of the numbers, and which I think is the most exciting is that we have, if you look at the amount of virtual consults that were scheduled for a client at roughly at 26, and we have a 60% conversion rate from a virtual consultation to surgery at a roughly $4,000 cost of a procedure, you can see the numbers really start to make sense. And so to me, just with an average, again, order value of $4,000, it really does make sense for to have this on their site. And so, to me, what I think is just exciting as well is you didn't have to have a staff member that is, you're paying X amount of dollars per hour and having them on for 40 hours a week to be able to man the chat. But if you're looking at just over that 37-day trial period that we did it, that's a substantial amount of revenue. And so what I would like to do, if you are watching this video and this resonates, or you're like, wow, that sounds exciting, I'd like to know more, I would love to, we'll have a little link down below, and that can enable you to schedule just a discovery call with us, and we can kind of talk to you about what it is, what Thomas is all about, send you a link that you could be able to test drive it and all the rest of it. So that is the conclusion of what we wanted to say. Dan, I hope you're still able to hear me, but if you are, I'd love for you to share any final comments.
No, I'm just thrilled that I was honestly shocked at how well this performed. I had a vision of this back in December, and I'd taken about a year and a half kind of almost sabbatical to try to think through what was the next step in marketing, what are the things on the horizon, and I'm just thrilled that we had the chance to do this beta test, and it's unbelievable that we were able to conceptualize this, build it, deploy it, and then get these kinds of results. And we're really looking forward to getting these kinds of results for more clients.
Awesome. So on that note, thank you so much for watching, and hope you found value in this. Looking forward to having a chance to connect with you. And on that note, I'll thank you for your time.